Waves of grain for purple mountain majesty. Yeah, I always screw that part up. Above the fruited plain, America, America. God gave us grace. God shed his grace on me and crown thy good with brotherhood, yes, from sea to shine, sea, and crown thy good with brotherhood, yeah, yeah, from sea to shining sea. Yeah, that's a great song there. America the Beautiful, Samuel A. Ward, Catherine Lee Bates. Yeah, that's the good stuff right there. And crown thy good with brotherhood, yes. Yeah, it was a long day. From sea to shining sea. Look at that, Pitts. Look at that beautiful color right there. Ain't that beautiful right there? I figured y'all was squinching and stuff, couldn't see it, but y'all can see it now, can't you? Y'all can see it now, can't you? Y'all can see them comments now. Ain't that beautiful? You got your own little banner on the Jumbotron. Hey, y'all, we talking about the Republican Party today. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We talking about the Republican to the party today. And this show right here brought to you by the GOP, the good old party. You ready? Hello, everybody. Sirwalterj show. I'm he. It is the evening edition. Baby, how y'all is? Come on in. Water is fine. Water is fine. Water is fine. It's good to see y'all over here. Jenkins and Oliver and Wilson and Hunt and Chester and Pitts and Johnson and Joyce is here, y'all. Spiritual Job is here. And Vanessa is here. The Lula B with the several names. She here. Marlene, that is here. Amber Rogers is here. Twana to Inspire and Hawkins and Collins and Frank Jones, all y'all here. Let's talk about the Republican to the party. This is all gray stuff. Ain't nothing on my chin. It's gray. It's gray. Hey, look. See? Jumbotron. Ain't that beautiful? Did I fix it, Amber to the Rogers? Huh? You like it? Is it better? Because it was driving me crazy. The Republican Party is a party that got started in an fortunate way. All right. Now, based off of the title I got here, it says the unfortunate history of the Republican Party. All right. It became unfortunate, but it did not start unfortunate. It actually has been formed because of you, African Americans. All right. It's because of your freedom there is a Republican Party. And most African Americans or blacks or coloreds or Negroes were Republican. Your great grandfather, possibly more than likely, I can bet a few dollars, was a Republican. Now I'm talking about you older folks. You younger folks, your great grandfather might be 25 years old. Yo, we're dropping babies like crazy. All right, you understand what I'm saying? So, my father's father was a Republican. All right, and they began to switch over. I'll tell y'all about that later. You understand? Yes, if you want to force the issue, darn it. Yeah, y'all understand. Okay? So the I did a show. I remember doing a show. I talked about the history of white supremacy and how where it started, how it started, and why is it popping up again in our world today during this administration of Donald J. to the Trump. Now, we talked about the Whig Party. Remember, there were just a couple parties back then. The Democratic Party, they had the Democratic Republican Party, what they call it, and they had the Whig Party. The Whig Party was in the North, by the way, all right? The Democratic Party was in the South. The Democratic Party, we didn't want to be a part of that because they're the ones who gave us a lot of this stuff, the Jim Crow and the Ku Klux Klan and the suppressing of the votes and all this stuff. That was the party we're in right now. All the irony. The party we're supposed to be in is the Republican Party, but we cannot join that party. Why? Because we are in the company of white supremacists and racists and people who hate your guts, and you cannot date their daughters. Now, is that also in the Democratic Party? You betcha. Oh, absolutely. There's racists in both parties. Now, there's racists in all parties, but there's racists in both parties. But the one party that I'm dealing with today is the Republican Party because we see where they have become complacent in their history, and they are responsible for what we saw January the 6th, 2021. The Whig Party in the 1800s were in the North, and they was fearing the expansion of the slavery from the southern states to the northern states. There was the free in the North, and there were slave states in the South. And the Whig Party came together, but they could not really agree. They did not want slavery to expand too far because you got to understand, in the early 1800s, the nation was still kind of young. You understand? We were only less than about 100 years, all right, since 1776, all right? We started that year, but you need to go a little further back that way, all right? Okay, and so this whole Kansas and Nebraska was the question mark of the time. Kansas and Nebraska, all right? So the Whig Party could not agree. Just like the Republican Party cannot agree today. History repeats itself. The Republican Party has come full circle because they were birthed out of the Whig Party who could not agree, so there were factions in there, and they split. Today, the Republican Party is split, and they will physically, I believe, split into two parties. All right, now, they did that, but they called it the Tea Party and these other little parties, cute little party names, all right? But we still was a two-party government. But that will change eventually in America. Mark my words and go back to this point of the video. You will see two parties, two heads pop up in the Republican Party. Two established heads, you understand? All right, and so they couldn't agree, so they formed the Republican Party, 1854, 1860, all right, party, and they put a man by the name of Abraham Lincoln in there, okay, and he won the presidential election. You get it? All right, so the South was fighting the northern states over this whole expansion of slavery, and the 11, I think, states succeeded from the Union, and they formed what we will call the Confederate States of America. That's right. So in the 1800s, there were two nations in one. Actually, there were three. There were three nations in one. Since y'all are on here, can y'all tell me what were the three nations at the time of that split? There was the Union, all right, the northern states. There was the Confederate States, which make it two nations. There was another nation already in existence in America. Can y'all tell me what nation was that? Imploding becoming something else. Yes. Oh, absolutely. We're going there, Brentic. Brentic down there in the South. He down in Atlanta. Thank you, Brentic, for sending us two folks to balance off the Congress. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I know you did that. All right. Can y'all tell me now? The comments may come in a little slow, but some of y'all a little slow. But I'm gonna be patient. Can y'all tell me what other nationwide is on your side? Nationwide. Okay. What other nation was here already? That's a hint right there. So there were 3 nations in one during the Civil War. Can y'all tell me? Please tell me, because your comments is coming in slow. Yeah, Brenda said you're welcome. Yeah. All right. Texas. Well, Texas had succeeded from Union, but that wasn't. No. Frank Jones got it. Pitt said, thank you, Brentic and Stacy. Yeah, Frank Jones got it. The Native Americans, the Indians, and whom they call themselves today the nation. I live with them in South Dakota. They are considered the nation. You understand? All right. So during the 1860s, there were 3 nations in one. These were not the United States during that time. There was the northern states, there was the Confederate States, and there was the nation, the Native Americans. All right. Now they had different tribes, but they were one nation. You understand? All right. So what happens? All right. The reason why this Confederate flag flying around all over the place is a slap in the face. It would be the same as if Russians came over here and started putting up flags in the parks in where you pay taxes to keep up. Do you understand? So the Russians come over here and put a Russian flag in your backyard. That's the same as a Confederate flag in the United States of America. It is another nation. Oh, you Brenda says, I thought you were talking in terms of sovereignty. No, but I will accept Texas. I will accept, because I know where you were going there. That was a good answer, by the way. Right, Donald Trump. We're still not one nation. Absolutely not. We're just one nation in name, but not one nation in unity and heart. All right, in reality. All right. So the southern states formed the Confederate States. Okay, now what happened? Then why did this split happen? African Americans were still part of the Republican Party because they were the ones who gave us the abolitionists. They were the ones who helped the Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman and many of them who formed the Underground Railroad. Without the white abolitionists, it would have been difficult for the Underground Railroad to be the way it was. So we got help from them, all right? And these people were part of the Republican Party. Now, government spending to maintain this war, because war is hell, as they would say. It costs a lot of money to maintain war. You know how much money we spent on Afghanistan, in Iraq, okay? Where else were we? Syria, Iran, and some of the African nations. You name it, okay? It's costly, billions of dollars. All right. So back then, the Civil War had to be financed, and to maintain the Civil War, the northern white business owners were becoming wealthy. They were becoming wealthy. This is way before the Rosie the Riveter and war bonds and all this stuff. Okay, that was happening in World War II. Well, that was the initial. Well, there was wars prior to, of course, the Civil Wars. We know about that, American War and the War of 1812. Blah 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 blah. But money is being made in war. That's why the United States is a belligerent nation, because we almost like war, because when war is ensued, then money is made. So money was made by the northern whites, okay? It made them rich. So they decided that fighting for the rights and the freedoms of African American freedmen made no sense. They said, we are done doing this. This is the Republican Party. They just put up a flag and said, we're done with y'all, and they moved on. Last week we talked about the election, this compromise of what year was that? We talked about the who was that brought the election on the floor during the insurrections last week, 2 weeks ago, and he was talking about the presidential election of what's his name? Help me out, and my mind is going crazy. Where they distilled in and what's his name? Hayes, okay? When they came together and there was a close election, they decided, all right, that the freedoms of blacks in the South and the Reconstruction needed to stop, all right, and stop meddling in our business, because if you meddling our business and continue Reconstruction and give these blacks freedom, then we're going to have a problem in the South, all right? And so they decided to do a compromise, and that compromise is what caused Jim Crow to pop up and raise up his evil head, and the Republicans decided to take their hands off the South. Rutherford B. Hayes became the president of the United States, and the Republican Party decided to retreat into the northern territories, and they said, leave the blacks down there to fend for themselves. That's where it started. Do we see signs? Joseph Phillips, we sure do. We sure do. We're not just now seeing those signs. We were seeing those signs during the election of Barack Obama. And Texas came up again. Do y'all remember? Texas came up again. All right? So the whites retreated, the Republican Party. They were making a lot of money. Okay? Gave it up. 1870. They became big business then. What's that? The Industrial Revolution of the 1920s, interchangeable things and all these things I learned in business class. Okay, the Republicans in the North, they were making so much money, and big business happened. They became wealthy, like we see in Apple, Amazon, and who else? All right, Microsoft and all these big tech that we see today. This is a repeat of history of the late 1800s into the 1920s and 30s. That's what happened back then, what we see today, big business. And big business today is doing the same thing that big business did 100 years ago. Big business and social media tech companies are responsible for the birth of many of these militant groups and domestic violence and all of these terrorist groups that I'm going to talk about soon. They are responsible for the strength of these groups because they did not sanction or silence their voices. They did not delete or block or restrict or ban. They allowed them to keep doing this, and they were saying, listen, we got to give these men and women the ability to speak. All right, if we allow you to speak, you can speak. And they almost were saying they have a First Amendment right to speak. This is what Amazon, who was that? Facebook. And this is what Instagram and who was that? Twitter was saying. Let Donald Trump speak. Let these radicals speak. Let them say these things, because we can't shut their mouths, because if we shut their mouths, we have to shut your mouth, blah, blah, blah. And they kept allowing this to happen. It was giving birth to these militant groups because the people can go to a place where they corral and get talking points, and they can scheme and all these other things. So what they did last week with Donald Trump by banning him is a day too late. There's no way out of this. It's too late. You gave birth to it. Remember when Donald Trump says that Barack Obama gave birth, he was the founder of ISIS? Remember when he said that? And y'all got upset? I know where he got that from. He got that from Jones, Alex Jones. You understand? And if you dig deep in it, what Barack Obama decided not to do strengthened ISIS to become as strong as they were. What Twitter and Facebook decided not to do strengthened the alt-right and those who attacked the Capitol building. Do you understand what I'm saying? They gave strength to it. There's no denying it. So the civil rights of the 1950s and 60s came back around. 100 years prior to that, in the 1860s, civil rights was an issue. Because civil rights was an issue, that's why Jim Crow popped up and squashed the help the Republican Party was giving the African Americans. All right? And it got squashed. All right? And then voting suppression, all that stuff happened. 100 years later, in the 1950s and 60s, during the civil rights era, it popped up again, which really caused the Republican Party to act a darn fool. Yes. Come on, God is watching. That's exactly it. Marty said it has bred homegrown terrorists. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. You best believe it. Okay? So, whites in the South decided to jump on the Republican train. They switched to the GOP. And they voted for Ronald Reagan. Now, we did that show, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. Okay? But there was a reason why the white evangelicals joined forces, because they wasn't really a part of that. But the white evangelicals came together through the moral majority, through Jerry Falwell, and they jumped in there for a reason, because of the history of America. And the number one reason is fear. Fear. Everybody say fear. Fear is something else. Now, we saw something in our age, so we can write it in our history books as well. When the proof of what I'm saying right now happened in the 2012 election. Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney showed us how divided the Republican Party really is. Why? And why did Mitt Romney why did they, his own party disregarded him? Even though he was the man, he was the elected official, he was the selected man for that party, and he ran against, of course, Barack Obama. But why did he lose? It wasn't so much that y'all went out there and voted for Barack Obama by crazy numbers. No, it was because the Republican Party, some part of them, refused Mitt Romney. They rejected him because they felt that he wasn't a real, true Republican. Just like many of you decided not to vote for Hillary Clinton because you felt that she was a traitor herself through the times of her and her husband in the 1990s, and through the bills that her and her husband initiated, and the executive orders and the 3 strikes and all this stuff. Yes, Mitt Romney was not radicalized enough. Yes, he will part with them when he gets ready. What y'all talking about? Yeah, he wasn't conservative enough. That's it. He wasn't conservative enough. The Fed, the monster. Yeah, okay. Mitt Romney. Now, why did Mitt Romney touch a nerve? It's because of the immigration talk. You got to understand, fear. Whites are afraid of losing the majority. They are afraid of losing the things that they stole. From who? They initially stole from the Native Americans. And then they went over there and stole from the African Americans. You understand? And they built this nation on the backs of poor people. The supremacist. America was built off of white supremacy. They can't get rid of that. They can't leave that. If you've been a part of some of us all your life, it's difficult to walk away from that. Very difficult. So when the black and brown people are coming over here, well, y'all brought the blacks ones over here, the brown ones are coming over here, and so they were already a threat, and Mitt Romney started talking about immigration reform. Uh-oh, you in the wrong party to talk about that stuff. And this rising star, remember Marco Rubio? How many of y'all was watching television? Marco Rubio came together and meshed up with some of the Democratic electives, okay? And they came together to see what they can do about immigration reform. And his own party, Marco Rubio, lambasted him. And they said, no, we can't do this. And that's where you physically saw with your eyes the split of the Republican Party. They didn't go into two parties just yet, but there, right before our eyes, is where you saw the split. Marco Rubio and Mitt Romney will be the founders of this new split that you see. And that split gave rise to the election of dear leader, Donald J. Trump. You see how that goes full circle? If you don't see it, I don't know if you're going to see it. Understand. The radical Republican Party has totally turned their backs on Mitt. They despise him now. That's right. Also, he is running mate. Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. That's right. That's right. Come on, y'all know their history. Launched, yep. Spoke their language. Spoke their language. Come on, Pitts. I'm trying to tell y'all, you better pay attention to this. Rewind this show. I'm trying to tell you, just like they've claimed that Barack Obama is the founder of ISIS, Mitt Romney and Marco Rubio is the founder of this new split. Mark my words. All right, so that's a short history of the Republican Party. But why is it, though, that so many radical groups are comfortable being associated with the Republican Party? And why is it that Fox News have this base where that group flock to for encouragement and news and instructions more so? Why do these militant groups flock to the Fox News for their directives or instructions on what to do next? So who should we implement? We should give credit for what happened in January 6th to Facebook, to Twitter, and to Fox News. We're not even talking about Parler and these other conservative YouTube channels or what have you. I'm talking about the major guys. Those three guys, Twitter, Facebook, of course, YouTube, and Fox News is responsible wholly for the attack on the Capitol building because they feel comfortable being there. So Fox News said that could not have been the Trump supporters that did that. That was Antifa. That was a whole lot of Antifaites. Yeah, they're leaving Fox now. Oh yeah, they walk, but it's too late. Newsmax, yes. They saying it's Antifa. I didn't know there was that many. You know how many thousands of people that was down there? And you know how many hundreds who bombarded the Capitol building? Did you see how many Trump signs out there? Flags? Did you see how many Jesus flags? White evangelical flags and crosses that was out there? Republican flags, GOP flags, Trump Pence flags and cards and letters. Did you see all that? Okay, the QAnons and all this stuff. They said, Fox News kept saying that was Antifa. They didn't even say that was QAnon. They kept saying that was Antifa. Well, let's play the devil's advocate, shall we? Let's act like that was all Antifa. Or mostly Antifa, okay? amongst the Trump supporters. All right. So let's assume that it was only Antifa that broke in the door, but all of the Trump supporters stayed outside. Y'all know what my next question is getting ready to be? Radicalized evangelicalism and system. Yep. Soup de jour. It sure was. Y'all know it's pretty Sly Fox. Yeah. Y'all know what my question is, right? They just can't stomach the fact they were caught being so barbaric. Yep. There it is, Pitts. Right there. Right there. It's right there. Y'all see it? I gave her some pretty colors. Y'all see that right there? In pretty colors. How is it possible that you will allow racists and supremacists and nationalists, which is a new name? They can't say supremacists anymore. They say nationalists. It's like you can't say genocide or not genocide. What's the word? They changed the name Planned Parenthood. They changed it to Planned Parenthood because it's more palatable. It's more, you can stomach it. It sounds better, Planned Parenthood. But prior to it be calling Planned Parenthood, what was it before that name? Because that name has been borrowed. Matter of fact, Hitler was watching America as he was trying to annihilate the Jews, and he began to study the way we did things as we studied him. Mein Kampf and Darwin's theory of evolution, of what they call it, what's the full name of that book? Yeah, my mind ain't working today. I must didn't have my Wheaties. Preserved races, the fight for preserved selected races or something like that. There's a long name for his book, okay? And Hitler studied that book to do what he did, okay? And then the name eugenics popped up. Well, eugenics was okay back then to use, but then it was tied to annihilation and killings and genocide, so they had to erase that name. And Margaret Sanger and a few others came together to change that name and then call it Planned Parenthood. You understand? So nationalism, to say nationalism, really pretty much is saying white supremacist or supremacy. You understand? Are y'all with me there? You're still with me. Okay? So what happened out of all this was called the Southern Strategy. And many of you heard about the Southern Strategy, all right? And it has been used a while in American history. And we started hearing some of the audio being leaked about how it was done, all right? The American politics, in American politics, the Southern Strategy was a Republican Party electoral strategy to increase political support among white voters. Where? In the South. In the South. By appealing to racism. And these dog whistle terms were used. All right? And they were used against African Americans. As the Civil Rights Movement and dismantling of Jim Crow laws happened in the 1950s during the Montgomery and the Birmingham and the boycotts, okay? The 1950s and 1960s visible deepened existing racial tensions in much of the southern United States. Republican politicians such as Richard Nixon and Senator Barry Goldwater developed strategies that successfully contributed to the political realignment of many white conservative voters in the South who had traditionally supported the Democratic Party. rather than the Republican Party. And this is where the switch happened, y'all, during this strategy. It also helped in pushing the Republican Party much more to the right. The Republican Party was left, and then they were actually more so center, and it pushed them far right. The Southern strategy refers to primarily to the top-down narratives of the political realignment of the South, which suggests that the Republican leaders consciously appealed to many whites and many white Southerners, racially grievance in order to gain their support. Watch the Negroes, okay? And you heard a lot of those terms from Richard Nixon. A lot of them, he called certain things, he called it the nigger bill. Yeah, nigger bastards. And, well, both Richard Nixon and what's his name? My brain is just ain't there today. Just say Lyndon Baines Johnson used those terms. It was just normal terms amongst their people. Just the way it was. Virgo was endorsed by the Dixiecrats. Thank you, sir. The Dixiecrats was a split from the Republican Party. That Dixiecrats, again, like the Tea Party, has the same history as the Dixiecrats. Same history. So they were not a viable separate party in America where we can say we have now three major parties, right? Because you know, the Dixiecrats, they're gone now. Or like the Whig Party, like the Tea Party, right? They're gone now. So they still all are part of the Republican Party. Like the alt-right. The alt-right is not just one militant group. They are a mesh of groups into what's called the alt-right. All right, it is a political construct, pretty much. I shared a video to your page, Walter, that you might want to see. It's less than 2 minutes. Well, I can't watch it while I'm on live. My software won't allow me to do it. I won't be able to play it, or all I see is a tag, but it won't play. I'll have to watch it after the show, though. They would later be known as the Reagan Democrats. That's right. Come on, Brentig, you might be young, but you kind of smart. Georgia really taught you something then. I'm impressed. All right, so that's what the Southern strategy was all about. And then what we start seeing were these militant groups pop up. Okay, here are some of the domestic terrorist groups. All right, domestic terrorism is in the United States consists of incidents confirmed as domestic terrorist acts, and these attacks are considered domestic because these events happened within the United States. The events and attacks were carried out by the U.S. citizens and or U.S. permanent residents, is what they're saying here. I'll give you a list of who they are. Blessings to you, Elliot Banks. Thank you so much for the super chat. Factions, a small organized dissenting group within a larger one, especially in politics. Pitts is on the money there. Here are some of the terrorist organizations that you may have heard but may not have heard. They call Alpha 66 and Omega 7, the Animal Liberation Front, Army of God. We all know about the Aryan Nations, the Adam Waffen Division, the Covenant, the Sword, and the Arm of the Lord. Notice these have Christian names. They have Christian names for a reason. White evangelicals, they have Christian names for a reason. The Catholics, during the Inquisitions and the Crusades, were literally murdering people in the name of Jesus Christ. Those a part of the brown shirts and the Third Reich were wiping out the Jews in the name of the cross. Do you understand? So don't be surprised when a white evangelical singing in their churches on Sunday morning, onward Christian soldiers marching out to war, and then that night go hang a nigga. There's no surprise there because it was birthed in them and in their surroundings. They lived among that. It is in them, and they feel like some of the Muslims, many of them believe that they are causing terrorists, doing terrorist acts on behalf of their Muslim belief or their God, Allah. And they believe that they will receive how many virgins? 72 virgins? Well, what the virgins going to get? If the men are going to get 72 virgins, then what the women going to get? Aryan nations. The next one is Earth Liberation Front. The Jewish Defense League is considered a terrorist organization. Of course, the Ku Klux Klan, the May 19 Communist Organization, the Order, Phineas Priesthood, Symbionese Liberation Army, the United Freedom Front, the Weathermen. Some of you heard of the Weathermen. No, it's not. It's raining men, hallelujah. Not them. All right. And here are some of the attacks that they are responsible for. Lincoln assassination in 1865 was caused by that Booth was part of one of those liberated fronts. Remember Harper's Ferry massacre? That's one there. I'm going back. The Pottawatomie Creek massacres that we learned in high school. Okay, I'm going to get some to the ones that some of y'all are more familiar with, the Colfax massacres, the Haymarket bombing. Remember the Haymarket, 1886? Milwaukee Police Department bombing in 1917. The Wall Street bombing in 1920. Tulsa race. All black people should know about Black Wall Street, 1921. All right, they were a part of a group. All right, the 16th Street Baptist bombing, church bombing in 1963, the Unabomber attacks, 1978, all the way through to 1995, attacks by the Jewish Defense League, the Oklahoma City bombing, 1995. Who was that? Is that McVeigh? The Centennial Olympic Park bombing, 1996. The Sikh Temple in 2012, the Boston Marathon, 2013, the cartoon drawing, the contest shooting. Remember that in 2015? That was over in London, I believe, right? The Charleston church shooting where we lost 9 African Americans, 2015. Who's that name? Was it Dylan? What's his name? San Bernardino shooting, 2015. The Orlando nightclub shooting, 2016. The Congressional baseball shooting, 2017. The Charlottesville car crash who killed that woman, 2017. The Pittsburgh synagogue shooting, 2018. The Escondido Mosque fire and Poway synagogue shooting, 2019. El Paso Walmart shooting, 2019. 2019 was a hot year, y'all. All right, and vehicle attacks against racial justice protesters. All right, yeah, last year. Okay, these are them, and this is what we have in our country, and they feel comfortable being with the Republican Party. Yes, I'm a black man living in the South. Our politics are literally race here. Yeah. Black people, oh man, ain't that something? Johanna, how you is? There have ways been factions in political parties, the Republican, Democratic, and other break off. Yes, ma'am. We're seeing it now. Absolutely. Now it is the religion of whiteness. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes. 72 women at one. Can't. Yes, that's good. Good to see you, by the way, Patrick Royster. Where else? Who else am I? Thank you, Remnant One. Thank you so much for the super chat. I bless you. Descendants of Esau. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The first holy war was probably in 312. Roman Emperor Constantine said he Yes, I remember. Yeah, y'all know your history. Y'all know your history. Off of what they did to the Indians makes me sick. My granddad talked about it. Yes. Yeah, that's a shame. The Trail of Tears. Remember that? Well, you weren't around. All right, so here's some of the new names for these factions. Um, the Boogaloo Movement. All right, the Boogaloo Movement. The Boogaloo Movement, whose adherents are often referred to as the Boogaloo Boys, is loosely organized far-right, anti-government, and extremist political movement in the United States. And the movement has also been described as a militia. Now, Boogaloo adherents say they are preparing for or seek to incite a second American Civil War, which they call the Boogaloo. Now, you got to understand that these thousands of troops that are in Washington, D.C. right now, there are more troops in Washington, D.C. than we have in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria combined, all right? They're there. Now, we've had troops before, several times, for the inauguration address. Barack Obama had thousands of troops as well, so don't think this is something new, all right? But this is new, by the way, by the reason that they are there at that many that are there this week. There's a reason why they're there. Now, the mere presence of these military force is what's going to cause more unrest to happen in the coming days. The mere presence tells the Boogaloo Boys and these other offset right militia groups that it's time for war. So there's going to be a time where you won't be able to, if you have a weapon in your home, it's going to be very difficult to buy bullets. All right? The cost of weapons, guns, all right, and bullets are going to skyrocket during the Biden administration. Skyrocket. All right? Can y'all tell me why I'm saying that? The cost of weapons are going to skyrocket during the Biden administration. Can y'all tell me why I'm saying that? Because you about to see Barack Obama 2.0. This might be 4.0. Right? You about to see it in a mighty way. It will be interesting to see if they will stay away because of the heavy military. Oh no. These people are mentally, their clock is mentally set. They have been waiting for this kind of war. Do you understand? We won't see them in the numbers that we saw them, no, on the 6th of January. But they will show up. You understand? Because they can't wait, because they've been looking for this type of war. The way they feel about what they see down there in Washington is the way we should be feeling when it comes to demonology and spiritual warfare against the enemy. Coming together and fasting and praying and bombarding heaven and going to war against the evil one. All right? That's what the Boogaloo and many of the militants feel by what they see in Washington, D.C. right now. And they will show up. Now, they'll be overtaken. There'll be more a calming thing. But trust me, they'll be there. The cost of bullets have tripled. And you cannot find bullets in the gun shops. See? She said, ask me how I know. I'm trying to tell y'all. You're going to be able to get, it's going to be so hard. O'Shea, blessings to you. Thank you for the super chat. I bless you. Thank you, Spiritual Java. I bless you for the super chat. Thank you so much. The oppressor seems like they, remnant. when you come over here, you be preaching. Yep, the FBI has already sent out warnings. They're coming. And that's why all of the Capitol buildings around the country have to be manned by some kind of protection. They're coming. They call it chatter. Can y'all tell me what chatter is? When you hear the FBI and all these departments, they call it chatter. But it's just how ironic. The executive branch is the law and order branch. Do you understand what I mean? They are the enforcer. They are the law enforcer, not the legislative branch, not the judicial branch. The executive branch is the law enforcer of the United States. And who heads that? The irony. Who heads that and who's responsible for January 6th happening? The one who headed the law and order branch was the one who's responsible for it happening. Remember when he snatched those children from their parents who crossed the border? He snatched the children from the parents, all right, put them in camps, in cages, and then after the backlash, he turned around and did an executive order and said, all right, y'all can go back. I freed y'all, and then took credit for fixing the problem that he caused. You understand? So he incited these people during his speeches, and the day of the riot, he down there telling them, all right, I'm going to march with you. Let's pick a road, Pennsylvania Avenue, wherever, and I'll be with you. But you got to do it by force. And that's exactly what they did. And he sat in the White House, turned on Fox News and watched it. And he watched the Capitol building, in a sense, burn as he ate his McDonald's. And they begged him, please call them off. And he sat there and, nope, won't do it. Then when he finally came forth and says, I love you. You're special. All right, go home. Go home. When he did that speech, he went back to the White House, and some of his people said that he walked around there pouting because he regretted doing that announcement because he said it made him look weak. This is sad. Amber says, chattering, musings, talking in chat rooms, whispering, underlying, trouble brewing. Yes, chatter. Chatter. Traitor and liar. He was watching TV. Yeah. A great big con artist. However, a lot of people can see through him. Oh, yeah. The Pied Piper of the Republican Party. It's Mickey D's during the day and Meatloaf at night. Chatter. Focus. Focus, Walter, focus. All right, thank you. That's exactly what it is. And y'all can't see that? So the Boogaloo Boys. The Boogaloo has been used on the Image Board website 4 channel. All right, it goes on and on. The Boogaloos. So they're different names. The QAnon, the Proud Boys, all right? You'll see all these names pop up. Every few minutes there's another faction that starts their own little thing. Domestic terrorism is the number one threat, y'all, in the United States. Number one. And the Republican Party feeds them. I was a Republican. I was a proud Republican for several years. I voted for Mike Huckabee when Barack Obama was running. I lived in South Dakota, a heavily Republican state. I lived in Rapid City, a heavy Republican town. All channels was on Fox News. And I meshed in there with them. I've always liked Republican policies. I'm a conservative man still today. I don't vote straight ticket because although I've registered as a Republican, there were some people in the Democratic Party that I did vote for. You understand? I voted for. And so, but I like the history of the Republican Party. Unfortunately, when you go to their conventions, it would take you 6 hours to find somebody who looked like you. Why? That's a problem. When that party doesn't even represent what America looks like. It don't. I was watching CBS today, and Kamala Harris was on with what's her name? I forgot her name. I watched CBS, what they call it, Good Mornings. What they call that thing? With the sun. It comes on every Sunday around 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, right? As I'm getting ready for church, and they had Kamala on there, and at the end of her segment, they had Kamala. One of these days I'm gonna get a name right, and her husband. All right, so you got an African American woman, of course, Asian, but her mother. She says her mother made sure that she understood her African American roots. You are a black woman. That's what she was saying. My mother, she says, you're a black woman. You do realize that, right? I need you to focus on that. We know you're an Asian, but I need you to focus on you're a black woman. I'm like, wow. And then, now, she married her husband, and her husband is white, of course, but her husband had a failed marriage, but her husband had 2 children, okay? Had 2 children. And they showed the family coming together for every Sunday they have family dinners, but it's through Zoom. And when they showed the Zoom, Kamala's sisters or something like that married, I don't know, Greeks or Italians, and then the husband's daughter married some. Anyway, they looked at all of the boxes. You looked at all the boxes on her family's Zoom call, and every color was represented in her family. White, black, Asian, Hispanic, all colors. And at the end of that broadcast, she says, this is America. This is what America represents right here in my family. And my eyes got a little teary. My eyes got a little teary because if you go to a Republican convention, what do you see? Huh? What do you see? His children call her Mamala. I love that. What do you see? It's hard to see the representation of America when all of the Republicans come together. So who stormed the Capitol building that Wednesday? Well, my point that I didn't finish, because I went to rambling rows like I do, was this. If Fox News say that those were not Trump supporters who got into the Capitol building, but they were Antifa and the Trump supporters stayed outside, how comfortable, first of all, are you to allow these militant groups to march with you and rally with you? And number 2, why do these militant groups feel so comfortable being with you and not the other party? Huh? Why do these militant groups feel so comfortable being with you? Because they see them in you. Do you understand? You represent them. That's why they're comfortable. When I had my friends over to the house when I was young, my friends in my house was jumping on the couch, on and off the couch, on and off the couch. I wasn't jumping on and off the couch. My friends was jumping on and off the couch. My father came home, put the key in the door, opened the door, and as he entered into the house, my friends was coming out of the sky to the floor. And when he saw that, my father said, Walter, come here. Yes, sir. Tell your friends they got to go home. They got to go now. Bob, Billy, Pookie, whoever. There wasn't no Bobs in in the black neighborhoods, all right? You got to go, man. Dad said you got to go. Oh, man, you got to go. They left the house. Then my daddy pulled off his belt. He says, now I'm getting ready to whoop your. I'm like, but I wasn't jumping on the couch. Pookie was jumping on the couch. What do y'all think my father reply was? Because y'all heard this story before. But some of y'all are new. It's about 120 of y'all right now here. All right? Some of y'all knew. What do you think my father's response to me was? Folks give those in their own tribe a whole lot of slack. You react differently when a friend steps on your toe. Carter, you preaching the Carter truth. If they weren't Trump supporters, they were people who supported Trump. See, yeah, I see what you did, Bird. I see what you, Bird. I see what you did. Yeah. Spiritual Jobber said, you allowed him to do it. My father said, come on, Tam. My father said, he asked the question, whose house is this? Patricia, my father said, whose house is this? I said, mine. He said, do I live here too? Yes. Who gave the law of the house? You did. You was here when I gave the law, right? Yes. Whack, whack, whack. He whooped my butt. Why? You mean to tell me you gonna sit here and let your friends tear up your house? And you say nothing? BW said they wanted the same. So Fox News says that wasn't our guys. That was Antifa. But wait, your guys stood on the outside of the Capitol building. Now, I'm playing the devil's advocate because we all know who went inside. All right? Your friends stood outside the Capitol building. They marched in there with everybody, and they waited while they allowed Antifa to go in there and tear up stuff and harm the very people in whom you elected. Here's the thing. You got those in your party who was a part of how many was it that objected to the counting? How many was it in that party? So you allow Antifa to go in there and possibly kill the ones who were on your side, and you let them go in there? I can't go with that. You gave them permission. That's it, Thomas. That's exactly it. Every person apprehended and charged so far has been a noted and confessed Donald Trump supporter, detailed and documented. Yeah. 140, Patricia said. Maurice said, 140 of them. You put 140 of the people on your side in harm's way, and you saying that that's Antifa and you let them do it? How dumb are you? This goes all the way back to the election where y'all saying that Y'all, the Democratic Party stole the election. Okay? They stole the election, and there needs to be a recount. But your guys was able to sit back in their senator's seat. So if the ballots need to be thrown out, your guy who's sitting in that seat need to be thrown out too. That's how dumb they are. That they can't see that if one is affected on if the paper is bad, everything on the paper is bad. So your guy is there sitting back, and he swore, put up his right hand, and he was sworn back in. He was not allowed to be sworn back in. 114, Amber is saying. Y'all give me different numbers here. Nevertheless, there it is. It's really sad, y'all. I can't go with your shenanigans. It's shenanigans. Can't allow it. I can't allow it in my house. All right? The question is, should Christians be Republican or Democrat? A 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit organization. All right? Your churches, many of your churches are 501c3. And the government put together some things to protect you. Separation of church and state. It's so that the state won't get involved in religious matters. It's a great protection. I approve of it. You don't have to file a 501c3, though, in order to get that protection. Some of you think you need that, but you don't. And the gallows for Pence, yeah, Shell Bell. I like that name, by the way. It's amazing because Pence could not break the law. Donald Trump told Pence to break the law. He couldn't break the law. He had no power. Even if he wanted to break it, he could not proclaim nothing. He's just an envelope opener that day. So Trump, who you elected, who knows nothing about the Constitution, told Pence to overturn this thing. Pence was like, I have no power. I can't do it if I wanted to. I can't. And he followed the rules. And then those people came there to kill Pence because Trump turned on him. Everything that Trump touched turns to poison. And all those men, remember last year, 2019 now, I talked about two things. All right? Two things. And what was that? I guess I got to go to Facebook, see if I can find it. I talked about two things. The first thing I talked about in 2009, I gave a prophetic word. All right? I'm not going to play the video because I really don't have it right now. I gave a prophetic word, and I said, do y'all remember when I said that God is going to remove many of the heads of the church? All right? He's going to remove them and prepare the church for new blood. Remember when I said that? Bishops and superintendents and these old heads, these pilgrims who've been around for a long time. And I says, I see them falling, dropping, boom, boom, left and right, left and right, left and right. Remember that when I said that? That was February, March of 2019 when I said that. I didn't see a COVID-19 coming. I didn't know how they were going to drop dead, but I did see them in the vision. I don't dream, like go to sleep and dream prophetic words. Okay? I don't do that. My dreams make no sense. They're just blockbuster movies. Every time I close my eyes, I dream. And there's some great movies. And I wake up and I don't remember them. I just don't. All right? But when I'm awake, I see visions. And those are the ones I pay close attention to. And those are the ones that I produce my shows with. And it's usually in my shower. something about being baptized in that shower. Now I bought a $250 shower head, and it's been blessing me. My carpenter installed it yesterday, and it goes like this. It hits you from up here in two ways, two angles. It lights up, all right? And then it hits your body here. It hits your body here, and then what else does it do? It's got a little thing that you can take off, and then you can just. It's beautiful. And now I'm getting all kind of anointed messages. Okay? So February 2019, I said that these men are going to drop dead. All right? And thank you. It pictures said, old man should dream dreams. Yeah, come on. Thank you for calling me a young man. Okay? Yeah, Bird, those dreams make no sense. So I'm not going to journalize them because they make no sense. So I don't journalize them. They're just fun, blockbuster movies for me. All right. So this happened last year. These are all of the men we lost last year. Look at this list. Let me move my head out the way. Look at this list. These are all of the bishops that we lost in 2020. You see that? And a few of these they hold great positions of power on the general board of the Church of God in Christ. Look at this. You have to go here to see all of them. Okay? When I saw that, I just started to weep. I was like, Lord have mercy. That many? I wasn't paying much attention, but they was dropping. God was removing them for a reason. And then I saw in February, remember I said, God is going after the men and the people who are supporting or who are helping these tyrants, these people in office. I mentioned Trump, I mentioned some other people, these wicked men. God is going to go after those who are supporting and rallying and financing and all this. He's going after those men, like these fake prophets. I didn't even know what God was going to do with those fake prophets. So what he did in 2020, he shut down the prophets. He told them, shut up. He wasn't speaking to nobody. Remember when I did that show? I said, God is not telling y'all who's going to win the election, you prophets. He's not telling you his modus operandus. Remember when I told y'all that? He ain't telling y'all nothing. He ain't you ain't having no dream. He ain't speaking to you at 12, 1, 2 in the morning about what's going on. He ain't telling you nothing. None of you. And so what happens, the white prophets, we know that they were really jacked up. And then the black prophets from Brian Kahn to a couple of them, there's only a couple of them was even daring enough to come forth. All right, there was only about 2 or 3 that came forth, all right, and talking about the election. And then they had to wait till the day, almost the day before the election, before they can change their minds, because they saw the news that says, really, Biden is almost a shoo-in. Then they begin to change their prophetic. Oh, wait, I wait, and I said Trump, but I went to sleep and I didn't have a chicken that night. I had some fish that night, and then here's what the Lord said, all right? God wasn't telling nobody nothing. And I'm standing on that to the day I die. He told y'all nothing. Why does he need to tell you who's going to win the presidency? What does it benefit you? Because, number one, he didn't tell you who's going to be the president for the same reason why he didn't tell you everything that happened after the election. Look at how many things happened since the election of November the 3rd. And no prophets prophesied about none of that happening. Trump's crazy phone call to the Georgia Secretary of State. Y'all couldn't tell me that was going to happen? The attack What about all these deaths that happened in November, December? People were dying left and right. What happened to those deaths? You didn't tell us about those deaths. All right, what about the attack of the Capitol building? No prophet nowhere told us that these people are going to go down into the Capitol building and 5 people were going to die. I didn't hear it from nobody. You didn't tell me that your president was going to be impeached twice. Why is it that you had a vision that this man was going to win 2 terms by a landslide, but not only did that not happen, he was impeached? Huh? So now it's easy to say, well, one was going to win. Remember that show I did? And I says, you only got 2 running. If somebody tell you that Biden was going to win, that don't make you a bona fide prophet. You only got 2 in there. You got a 50-50 chance of winning. Do you hear what I'm saying? You got a 50-50 chance of winning. So I don't want to hear from no prophets out there saying, see, I told y'all Biden was going to win. You only had 2 tries. Your odds of winning was 50-50. If 5 people was running, then go ahead and prophesy and pick out the one. But you had 2. Do you understand? So I need y'all to stop being pulled in by these men and women who say, see, I told y'all. Hey, you had 2 choices. That's not a extravagant, a spectacular thing that you just did. Go sit down. Victory, 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 victory. African angels. She went from the same place that your man said was S-hole countries or nations or whatever you call them. Now you want help from them. The Lord said it is done. The Lord said it is done. African nations, African angels, shut up! And you and your crazy son walking back and forth, giving me a headache. He going back. Sit down, boy. Sit that boy down. What is he doing? He reading tea leaves. I don't know what he was doing. He did walking back and forth. Sit your little boy down. You see that boy behind you? Did you give birth to that boy? Yes. Sit that little white boy down. Because he giving me a headache. Because every rapper in the country is making beats based off of the Lord said it is done. You like a fool. He held his Charlie Brown blanket. It makes no sense. That's what's happening here. Where were the prophets? God says, I'm not talking to you. And all you, if you're a real prophet out there, God says, I'm sorry. I can't show you what my right hand is doing. I can't tell you. Why am I only going to tell you who's going to win, but you don't know all this other stuff that's getting ready to happen? That happened between November 3rd and right now. You couldn't tell me all this stuff was happening, was getting ready to happen? None of this? I need you to sit down. I'm going to need you to go sit down. Go find the nearest corner and sit on your hands. I need you to sit on your hands because I don't want to see them. Because your hands play tricks. Sit down. Paula White part of the problem. She's probably landed them a second term. I can't do it. Have several seats, LM said. Several. Find every seat in the house and sit on them. Trump was probably mocking Paula back. Yeah, I know he was. All right? So, generally speaking, Republicans, conservatives prefer smaller government and more individual freedom. I'm for that. But if it's against the poor, I'm not for that. I'm not for it. While the Democrats and liberals or the progressives prefer more governmental oversight of society and the economy. They both got a good thing going. conservatives argue for capitalism. I'm for that. I want to make some money that is free for the most part from governmental control. I like that. While liberals or progressives have more socialistic tendencies in regards to the government's role. I'm for that. You see? I'm well balanced. Because the extreme happens in the Republican Party, unfortunately. The Bible does not explicitly endorse either capitalism or socialism. God has given governments the freedom to have as much authority as needed to fulfill their God-given roles of enforcing justice and building order in society. So socialistically, if you need that to take care of the poor, then bring in socialism. Why? Because the first century church had all things common. They bought and sold. Nobody had a need. Everybody's need was fulfilled. Socialism. And socialism is benefited by many in the Republican Party. Why? Because Trump came in office and began to give all these tax cuts and all these incentives and stuff. So Trump was passing out socialism to his rich buddies. Socialism. So the very people who are against it are the ones who are benefiting from it. Affirmative action is benefited by whites. Did y'all hear what I said? Affirmative action is highly benefited by whites. I know that firsthand. I went to a HBCU, Bethune-Cookman College down there in Daytona Beach. Trust me when I say whites benefit from the very social programs that they are trying to dismantle. Do you hear what I'm saying? And they are crying Blue Lives Matter, and then went down there to the Capitol building and tried to kill blue lives. Some of the most hypocritical people I know on this here terra firma are them. Very ones. They tried to get rid of Barack Obama, what they call it, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. They said get rid of it, while yet the ones who live in the holler territories, or they live near Cracker Barrel, them folk who live down there in the woods where they wrestle alligators and all, they were benefiting from Obamacare. And their leaders were saying get rid of it. And then they said $2,000 stimulus package, and the leaders like, no, you're going to break America. You can't do $2,000. Let's just give them $600. Not realizing that they are starving the very people who elected them by not giving them the $2,000. Hypocrite. And Maurice don't even talk about the whole pro-life situation. If they bring up abortion one more time, I'm going to spit in somebody's face. You are a lie. Your life is totally the antithesis, the juxtaposition of what you feel about abortion. Total opposite. You went down there to the Capitol building to kill people, and you succeeded. And you going to push abortion in my face? I'm going to need you to sit down. Because when that black kid is born, you abandon it. You don't care. And then you squash the social programs to take care of it until this person gets on their feet. They think that all black people are on public aid and they're robbing from public aid. But more white women are on public aid. So if you kill public aid, you killing the hands that are feeding you. You, Republicans. Ain't this about nothing? Hip, po to the crib. The rich Jew. Yeah. Come on. Hypocrite. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all better listen to me. You better listen. Good to see you, Marlon McDonald's. McDaniels. I call you McDonald's. I guess I must be hungry, but it won't be McDonald's I'm eating. I can't do that. Oh, that ain't real food. Folks with Patricia, I'm tired of you. Patricia Royster, boy I tell you, that's good stuff. That's what's going on there. It's a shame. It's a shame. The Bible does not explicitly talk about that. So in regards to the size and scope of government, Christians can be libertarian, you can be conservative, you can be liberal, and you can be progressive. All right? None of these persuasions are inherently evil or ungodly. The argument should be over which system best enables the government to fulfill its God-given role. If the Democratic Party is now the head of the executive branch, the House of Representatives and the Senate, they got three portions of the government. The three most sought after positions by each party are those three. They're sitting in those seats, and now the Lord must operate. He must now see to those people by the thousands are in their cars waiting in line for hours just to get a box of food to feed their families, because millions lost their jobs because of a COVID came in there and knocked out all these jobs. And these families are waiting in their cars, running down their gas for hours just to get a box of food to feed their family for a couple days, and they got to go right back out there. And if whatever party who could take care of this situation, that's the party I'm voting for. You understand? I'm all for the poor. I'm all for helping the poor. My ministry has been single mothers. All last year has been about single mothers. I've been chasing after single mothers to feed them and their children. That's my ministry. Your ministry might be something else, but the Lord put that on my heart to do that. And I believe I have fed a lot of families, and I'm going to try and double that this year. All right, I believe the Lord is going to supply my needs so that I can double it. And many of you have put in the pot. When we put those things on Facebook and we want to bless these families, whenever I try to give that stuff away, all right, Sister Oliver is one of them, all right, and some of you, when you hear that when we're doing that, my Cash App goes off. Hey, put this 100 on that family. I'm like, oh, God, thank you. Look at this. The people, look at the people. Look at the people, God, look at the people. And I call up these families. Hey, listen, you got any food at the house? And everyone I call, they all say the same thing. We have nothing. I don't know if we can make it this week. I'm trying to tell y'all, get ready. Listen, I'm going to shut this down, but I will say this. Donald Trump is still in the office. He's still got a few days left. He's getting ready to pardon a lot of people. Understand? I don't know how many people. I don't know what he's going to do, but I guarantee you this. He's getting ready to pardon a lot of people on his way out. All right? That's number one. Number two, he's got a few days left. He still have the power as the President of the United States to write up executive orders, to call on martial laws, and he's still a part of the branch that is responsible for law and order. You understand? He's still responsible for that. All right, so he can do anything within reason that he want to do in with the power that has been willed to him. All right, for his benefit. Okay, that's number two. So he's gonna come out of this office gang banging. Understand? So get ready. That's number two. Biden will be elected. He will have his little ceremony. It won't be as big as it would normally be, but he's gonna have it. All right. Yes, Royster. He still got the nuclear codes. All right. Still got those codes. All right. So he could do whatever. Except the Lord keep this nation. All that stuff can happen. You understand? All that stuff can happen. Biden will be elected. I don't care what none of y'all saying. He will be elected. The President of the United States. I don't care if it's delayed a day or two or a week. He will be elected. I don't care. We are tired of you prophets coming forth and saying there's another chance, another chance. All your chances was over November 3rd. Your chances were over. All right. Now we need you to stop lying on God. You hear me? Stop lying on God. Stop listening to these alt-right papers and news and bad news that you're getting off of social media from Parler and all these other stuff. Stop listening to all of this emails and inbox messages that an airplane is going to show up. That hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your black people because they come into your neighborhood. They're going to start shooting y'all up. I've been hearing that every time, every 4 years. Something happens, some election. I keep hearing about you people talking about, watch you black people don't be driving out on the street because they're coming for you. I'm gonna need you to calm it down. Stop lying. All right, because when Harold Washington, the first black man, well, he wasn't the first black man to run, but he was getting ready. He was running in 1981, 82, somewhere around there. Okay. And he was running and they said the same thing. They said, black folks, you need to stay home because the cops are going to be arresting as many people as they can to stop you from voting for this black man. That was 100 years ago, 1981. I wasn't old enough to vote, but I remember watching the news, and I'm watching, well, they wasn't really saying it on the news, they were saying it in chatterboxes. That's why the FBI be picking up this chatter. So I'm hearing this in the school. Y'all watch out, they're getting ready to arrest everybody. All black people. They're going to pull you over so that you can't get to the polls. Every time, every 4 years, we hear about some of y'all coming on here talking about be careful, and y'all gonna be sharing all kinds of stuff. My inbox is full of you conspiracy theorists telling me to go out there and go to Walmart and buy everything, toilet paper, doodoo paper, all wax paper, con paper, everything. It's buy everything because watch out because it's the same mess y'all be telling. You're telling me the blackout. Don't buy white products on this day, and we're gonna not do this. I ain't following y'all. Y'all follow Black Lives Matter. Went out there, and some of y'all got shot in the behind. And following after these homosexual girls. I don't follow none of this stuff. You preachers went out there and following all that stuff, and then you ran back in the house with your tail between your legs because you realized what Black Lives Matter, the organization, really was. I ain't talking about Black Lives Matter. I mean the organization. You knew. You like, wait a minute. There's some funny people marching here with us. Ooh, what's that I smell? Or what's that I hear? Ooh, well, you put yourself in there. You can't be marching with everybody there because they call your ticket. They're because they called your name. Don't mean you got to be marching with them. Sit your butt down. Go back home. Except you put your trust in God. Shut up. Thank you, O'Shea. Blessings to you. I'm tired of y'all. Y'all are so easily. Who beguiled y'all? Who bewitched you? Huh? Who bewitched you? Your ears are open. The doctrines of the devil. You got itching ears. old wives' tales and all this babble. Shut up. I'm getting a headache. If I followed y'all, if I followed every conspiracy theory y'all put in my face, I'd have no money in my house. Fake flyers talking about white folks killing black folks. I'm tired of y'all. Oh, foolish Galatians. I'm tired of you. The reason why y'all get pulled into that stuff because you don't really pay attention to the voice of God. You don't. You don't pay attention to the voice of God. You just don't. You don't talk to him. You don't pray. You don't fast. You don't intercede. Nothing. You listen to all these pro-black militant folk. You just as bad as those Antifa folks or whatever they call them. You just as bad. So instead of y'all praying to, I can't do it. Because I'm going to offend some of y'all with that next statement. So I had to pull it back. Y'all started calling God all kind of stuff now. You don't even call him the God of your childhood. You don't even call him that anymore. You started hearing from these Hebrew Israelites and all these other folk, and then you start calling God something else because it sounds good. It tickles the left side of my brain. Why does it feel good? So you start doing all this renaming God. Shut up and listen to the voice of God. He will tell you what to do with your family like he told me. Don't pay attention to all that chatter. You hear me, son. And then in 2020, that's what he told me. Listen to my voice. Don't watch that mess. Listen to my voice. And I will listen to his voice and I will go live and tell y'all, I'm listening to the Lord. I'm listening to the Lord. He's not talking to y'all like those folks telling he said all night long. Y'all following these YouTube sensations. Mr. High Yellow, I keep talking about him. I'm gonna leave him alone. I'm gonna leave him alone. But y'all keep running after these guys. The Lord, he always in his car with his phone. And the Lord has talked to me tonight, and he said this, he said that, and he said this. Shut up! Tired of the Lord talking to you. When's he gonna talk to me? 300,000. I think he got 500,000 subscribers, and the folk are listening to him, and they like, ooh, tell me, Marcus, what did the Lord say to you today? You mean tell me the Lord ain't talking to you at home? He's only talking to Marcus? Huh? Man, if you get your instructions from Marcus, we got a bigger problem. Big problems in Little China. Listen to the Lord, and he'll tell you what to do. As far as I'm concerned, I'm safe in the arms of Jesus. All right? It's going to happen whether you like it or not. Stop putting fear tactics on the people of God. You should always be careful for nothing. You should always have stocked up in your house. If you have a house with a basement or storage, you should always have it stocked with food. Nobody should have to tell you to go down there and buy toilet tissue, go down there and buy canned goods. You should always have something stocked up anyway. Why? Because we come up that way. My mom always had food in the house in case strangers or family and friends come to the house unexpected. There was always more sheets and covers and pillows and comforters and all kind of stuff. She always had extra in the house just in case. There was always flashlights. And there was always batteries in the house. There was always candles in the house. There was always matches in the house. There was always gasoline stored somewhere in the house. My father stored it. Why? Because we didn't just put our full trust in Marbell and Commonwealth Edison and the city of Chicago and all that stuff. We didn't put our trust in all that. We always had snow shovels, several of them. We always had salt for the snow, piled away in the basement, always. Do you understand what I'm saying? The baby boomers knew what to do. So the reason why y'all running to Walmart and standing in those long lines is because you was not taught how to always have stuff in the house. Store up. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning, so that when the Savior comes, you won't miss it. Always have the non-perishables. Always. You come to my house, you're going to see stuff in my pantry. You're like, wait a minute, it's just you and your daughter. Yes. You got enough here to feed a whole family or 2 or 3. Yes. Why? Just in case. You understand what I'm saying? I got so much tissue here. Why? Because I didn't go out there and buy it all at one time. Every time you go to the store, you buy some tissue. You buy some toilet paper, or you buy some paper towel. And I just kept just putting it in there one by one. Just one by one, slowly. One by one. I was doing it. I just kept one by one. I got so much stored up that I did not have to go buy one roll of toilet tissue for 6 months. Do you hear what I'm saying? I did not have to buy for 6 whole months toilet tissue or paper towel. Why? I just kept putting it away. Because my mama told me, put that stuff away. And then I was putting money away for 2019. Put it away. Why? Because anything could happen. Putting money away. And then January came, February 2020, everything got shut down. And I survived off of the money I put away. The Bible says, consider the way of the ant, thou sluggard, because it is working hard in the summertime, because wintertime is coming. Some of y'all got grasshopper spirits. So then when these people come with this conspiracy stuff, you get all crazy and shaky, and then you standing in a long line at Walmart. Why? Because you didn't keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Don't worry. You're going to be all right. Just consider the way of the ant. Proverbs chapter 6. You're lazy. You talk about how you put your hand over it and you're sleeping. You don't wake up till 1 and 2 in the morning, and you got nothing done. That's why you're so nervous. 5G. 5G. I can feel it in my chest. There's a tower out in the alley, and every time I walk outside, my chest starts hurting. You are a fool. You are going to be okay. Whatever happens, this coming Wednesday, God knew it was going to happen. Whether the militia come in there and try to tear up stuff, don't worry. God is in control. Or whether nothing happens and they look at all them folk out there, them army folk out there and say, we can't do it, God is in control. Biden's going to he's still going to raise that right hand and say, I promise, I swear to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States, so help me God. He's still going to raise that right hand. You understand what I'm saying? And then he's going to get into that office. And trust me, I do know that scandal is going to happen under his administration. I already know. You understand? They're going to want to impeach him real fast. Why? Because they want to get even with their dear leader. Trust me, they want to impeach him. Soon as he sat down in the Oval Office, you will be hearing chatter about impeachment. Trust me on that. You're going to hear them say things that may be hypocritical on some of the things that he said while he was running for the office. Trust me, that's going to happen. He's going to stumble over his words. He's going to say things that he's going to have to retract or take back. He didn't mean it that way. He's going to do Freudian slips, all right? He's going to misspeak. Trust me on that. Kamala Harris is going to say some stuff that's going to rub the African-American community wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Trust me, they are going to do that. That's a part of the game. It's going to happen. Meanwhile, I'm going to need you to take care of your home. Stop putting all your trust in the White House. Get your house in order, and you'll be okay. Understand? So, no more scare tactics. Calm that down. As for me and my house, we will praise the Lord. Clockkeeper, I've been seeing your signs, and thank you. But I had to ignore it for just a few minutes because righteous indignation filled the house. And I had to address it. I love y'all. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button and turn it future red, white, and blue. All right? And go ahead and share it with some folks, okay? If you're on Facebook, there's about 150 of y'all left. Go ahead and share it on Facebook and to the folk and let them know, well, we're here now. You can't turn back now. The government is going to go forth as God has instructed it. God is watching the nation, and he's going to give us a time where he's going to relax the punishment and let these people eat. Your stimulus packages are coming, all right? You got some of the things that you prayed for. Here it is, all right? God's going to clear up this COVID eventually, but a worse thing is going to happen before a good thing happens. You understand? So get ready. COVID is going to attack many more thousands will die. That's just it. They are going to die. So pray for our nation that this punishment don't last too much longer, all right? Much too longer, is that the word, okay? Just keep praying for us because death is all around us. While you eating at home and sleeping in your warm, comfortable bed, the hospital up the street, every few minutes, lose somebody because COVID is killing them. It's a killing field in your backyard while you're comfortable. You need to be praying for this nation. Keep praying. Meanwhile, the Lord's going to take care of you. Trust me on that. Trust me. You will be okay. You'll be just fine. Let's keep your eyes focused on the Lord. He'll provide for you like he did for me. I love y'all. And ain't nothing you can do about it. Let's see you, okay? Maybe tomorrow. Maybe not. Bye-bye.
Well, goodbye. 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 Enjoy yourself. Goodbye. 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 Well, goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sirwalterj to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy today.